Recording in progress.
This segment is all about selling your business in today's climate. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to lead their fields, educate consumers, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Ron Wiebe. He's the founder of Investiprise. Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
Ron, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of clients that you help?
Sure. Actually, so my clients are Main Street. And if I can give you a little bit of background, I am a commercial real estate broker, have been for over 20 years. About 10 years ago, people started calling me saying, hey, Ron, you or your staff did a great job. Your broker's helping me find a location for my business. My parents want to sell their grocery store. My brother wants to sell his service station, et cetera, et cetera. And I kept saying no, because commercial real estate and selling businesses and evaluating businesses are a total different kettle of fish. And but after a while, I started saying, Ron, you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. So I looked into how to sell businesses, and I found an organization, which you're probably familiar with, the IBBA, International Business Brokers Association. I met these people. I went to a conference for the first time. It was amazing. I was hooked, addicted from day one. And so I started taking their courses. I invested a lot of my time and money and received a certificate, a CBI, a Certified Business Intermediary, a certificate, which I upkeep and maintain through continued conferences. In fact, I'm going in May in Orlando again. And with a couple of my brokers, we built a fantastic team in Investiprise. And so it's Main Street businesses is who we focus on.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about these Main Street businesses, because they're great at growing their businesses, but how much thought do they put into selling it? Do they, what are the preconceived notions about selling a business? What do you hear?
Right. So a lot of the people that we're running into, and just to give you an example, just what's happened recently, we've had 3 different service station or mechanical garage owners wanting to sell. One wants to sell to his employees, one wants to sell to his son, and one just wants to sell to anybody. But when you go see them and they start telling you about their business, because we will want to know more about their business, because when we do an evaluation of their business, it's part science, but it's part art as well, right? It's a balance, because there's things that the financial statements won't produce. And so you got to kind of get into the person's psyche and understanding of what they believe a business should be run like. And often they've had no thought about selling the business. They've just run it on a day-to-day. Their focus is just what's going to happen today. How do I pay the bills? How do I keep the banker happy, that type of thing. And so when it comes time to sell, they think, oh, I'll just call somebody, they'll list it, and next month it'll be sold. It's not like a house, right?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about some of the pitfalls and things that they may be overlooking that could sabotage their success at sale.
Absolutely.
What are they overlooking?
So cash is, they say cash is king. And a lot of Main Street businesses will accept cash payments. People will save on taxes. People will save one way or another. And, what I've told people is, look, we're not the government, but you're already receiving benefits for your business before you've sold it. And we can't sell cash. We can only sell what's on the books. People that want to buy, interested business entrepreneurs that want to buy your business are going to look at what are the registered numbers? Like what am I buying here? So we can tell them that, 15% more is cash, but how do we sell cash? We can't. So the owner of the business actually received benefits before selling, and now they're going to have to accept a smaller price on their business because the cash isn't registered. So if you want to wait a couple of years, and we can advise people how to do things to their business to make it more valuable to sell. But honestly, quite often, once a person has decided that they'd like to sell, it's rare that somebody said, oh, I'm thinking of selling in 2 years. What can I do to make my business sellable? It's rare. Most Main Street people, I decided I'm going to retire today, or The doctor gave me a bad report yesterday. I need to sell. And they haven't really structured necessarily, not all, but necessarily haven't really structured themselves ready to sell.
So to your point, how much time should they allot for preparing a business to sell? What's an ideal time?
Well, I mean, ideally, and we've had people come to us. In fact, I was just before coming onto this podcast, I was just with a bookkeeper, and I was just looking at her file. It was 2 years ago. She contacted us. She said, I would like to know, what is my business worth today? What am I doing correct? What am I doing incorrect? What can I do to make my business sellable? I'm 61 years old. I want to retire before I'm 65. Tell me. And so, she paid for us to do an evaluation of her business. We went over all of her business, how she does business each day, and what she can do to make sure that it's sellable when the time is right, and that she shouldn't have a false sense of how fast this business could sell. A lot of times people don't, even business owners, and of course, if you mention it to them, they say, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're a mechanic, maybe you need particular licenses or abilities to run the garage. And so, there are some businesses that you need training, you need expertise, you might need 4 or 5 years of schooling. And so not everybody is qualified to buy your garage. Even if it's a profitable garage, not everybody is interested in running a garage or buying a restaurant, or right. And so I give an illustration often about, if you're going to buy a house, that specific type of house in that neighborhood, it could be a lawyer buys it, could be a doctor buys it, could be an accountant, could be somebody that works for the city. Lots of people could buy that house because it's a house. But when it comes to a business, you've really reduced the amount of persons who could be interested in or have the qualifications in that specific field, right? So the time to sell, we often use an illustration of 8 to 9 months, but it's not uncommon for some of the businesses to go into a second year before they're sold, just because maybe the economy, interest rates, as we're seeing now, inflation. Some people are maybe nervous about the economy. They're calling for recession, that type of thing, right?
Great insight. Ron, you mentioned coming from a commercial real estate background. Tell us a little bit more about you. Like, what inspired you? Is this an evolution of commercial real estate? Are you doing more of that, less of that now? Is it really your focus on selling businesses? Tell us more.
So sure, absolutely. So we continue to offer both services. They're two independent companies, but they're very relatable if you think about it, because commercial real estate is only business. We never sell houses. We're not interested in selling homes. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not our interest, our forte. And so myself personally, the reason I got into commercial real estate is I wanted to deal with business-minded people, because I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. 2, I really like to help people. So this was, in a way, something that I could do and I could help people with. So when I started my company for selling real estate, commercial real estate and leasing, that type of thing. And so it's kind of a blend. And in fact, when people are buying or selling the business, sometimes they overlook the importance of the facility that their business is housed in. So again, if a building, we've had people call us in the past, and I have one file right now that I'm working on. In fact, I have to call them today, but it turns out that they are unable to get an extension on their lease because the building is being taken down because they're going to put up a high-rise condominium there. And the business is a business where people need to go to that location. So unfortunately, even though that business has been around for 20 years, it's going to be, that person would have to reestablish that business in another location to demonstrate that people will still come to that a new location. So it'd be extremely difficult to find somebody that would be interested to purchase that specific business without a lease. So this is how, the commercial side of my background has helped also on the business side of understanding leases, how they work, understanding landlords' mentality. Overall, personally, What I love about both businesses, it allows me to be a little Sherlock Holmes and a little Sigmund Freud. Like I want to solve a mystery. I want to help you find the right location, or I want to find you the right buyer. But at the same time, people are people, and we don't always reveal everything that are, going on up in the gray matter. And so it's through a process of building trust or relationships that people start to, drop another card on the table so you can see what's in their hand. And so I love that, like, okay, so why are they telling me this, or why aren't they telling me this, right? So I'm having a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
That's terrific. Before I ask you my last question, in regards to selling a business in today's climate, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share?
You know what? One of the things we're really big on for our company is confidentiality. And sometimes people don't realize how, and it's confidentiality, not just for the seller, of course. We don't want to do we don't tell people right away, look, here's the business, here's the address, here's the owner's names, here's all the financials. So we have a step-by-step process where we will do a reveal, but it's got to be to the right person. And on the other hand, a lot of people don't think about it much, but we're very big on that as well. If you're a potential buyer, we also want to treat you with utmost confidentiality. So we don't want, it's nobody else's business that you're thinking about buying a business or thinking about growing your business through acquisition, or so, and you're going to be providing us with financials as well. Are you do you have the ability to buy this business? So you're going to be showing us some things too that maybe you would only show your banker or your doctor, right? So so we on both sides, buyers and sellers, confidentiality is our number one always.
Great insight. Ron, for business owners listening who would love to speak with you and perhaps get your help, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Sure. So obviously we have a website, Investiprise.com. We're based out of Montreal, Canada. We, being in Canada, and especially being in Montreal, Quebec, we have bilingual services. So you want French, you want English, it's there. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. We're members of the IBBA. You can look us up there. We advertise on all of the websites that are specific to people buying and selling businesses. So Biz Buy Sell, the IBBA website, Buy a Biz, Sell a Biz. There's so many of them. We advertise there, but definitely type in Investiprise. You'll find us. We'd be happy to talk to you.
Ron, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. All the best.
That was Ron Wiebe, founder of Investiprise, and this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals publish to lead their fields, educate consumers, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.